Acknowledge the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. We pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank Corporal Weatherby for coming again tonight. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll try not to keep you as long as we did last time, so we'll get to your item, we promise, right off the bat. So it should go smoothly tonight. And I'd like to welcome everybody else and everyone watching online, and thank all the council for coming out tonight. It's great to see everybody. The second item on our agenda is a declaration of conflict of interest. If anyone has any conflict of interest with anything that's going to be discussed here tonight, please declare so now. If not, we'll go to approval of the agenda as presented. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda that anyone would like to suggest? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I'll move that. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. We'll now go to the minutes of our last regular council meeting of 14th of August, 2024. Any additions, deletions, or changes to those minutes that anyone would like to suggest? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes. Councillor Jackson, thank you. Did you second it, Deputy Mayor? Did you seconded it? Thank you.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh.
Well, I can.
I will.
Okay. I thought you raised your hand. I saw it out of the corner of my eye.
Oh, okay.
You fooled me. Thanks. Okay, we have a moved and seconded motion to on the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Any business arising from those minutes that we won't be covering tonight? Anything that anybody would like to follow up on from our last meeting that we're not going to be speaking about tonight? It was a long one, but we got through a lot. We got a lot of good work there. Yeah, a lot of resolutions. Yeah. Any changes or anything anyone would like to follow up on? Sorry. If not, I'll entertain a motion. No, there's no business arising from the minutes. If there's no business arising from the minutes, I'll ask our CAO, Mr. Crosby, if there's any presentations from the floor. No? My report is in your package, just a couple of highlights. We had a meeting with the fire company. They need a new fire truck, a ladder truck, to replace the current truck, which is reaching the end of its effective life. And it's going to be a funding challenge for the fire company, and we're working with them to try to address that need. We had a great meeting with RCMP Commanding Officer Kevin Lewis and other senior officers, along with Deputy Mayor Gallant and CEO Crosby, to discuss policing in Stratford. A lot of good discussion there, so thank you very much for that. And on August 15th, the Kanzu participated in an event in Charlottetown to celebrate the Acadian community, and it was great. We have a lot of great Acadian members of our community that we're really proud and lucky to have. Yeah, well, there was a lot of discussion in media about the strategic plan for transit and proposed changes and improvements to the T3 transit for Charlottetown, Cornwall, and Stratford. We finalized the 2023-24 town financial statements along with Councillor Dowling, CFO O'Connell, and was there anyone else there? You were there? Yeah, you were there as well. Yeah. Sorry. And Councillor Dowling. Yeah, I got Councillor Dowling. I didn't have you guys. That's great. So thank you. Thanks for attending.
Yes, and Deputy Pierce as well. Not here tonight.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Deputy Pierce.
Yeah, Deputy Pierce as well. So that was good to go over those in detail, and the town is in great financial shape. Thank you, Councillor Dowling and CFO. O'Connell on that. Thank you very much. Yeah, and there was a public meeting to discuss proposed changes to the zoning and development bylaw, which took place last night, well attended. And getting ready for a meeting of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities general board meeting that's going to take place next week. We had a virtual meeting of the Finance, Infrastructure, and Transportation Committee, which I sit on to discuss several issues. Yeah, it's been a busy month, but I think there's a lot of great things getting done in the town. So, any questions or comments on my report? Okay, if not, we'll move on to Chief Administrative Officer report. I'll ask for CAO Crosby to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is in your package. It's a little lighter than normal. I was off for a few weeks in August and had great weather, so. But I did attend a meeting, an EMO training exercise here at the town. We did a tabletop exercise to get prepared for any emergencies that may come about. It was a timely event to have here with hurricane season in full bloom, but hopeful that we don't have anything that occurs this year, but I think we are prepared if it does. I attended the two meetings with planning staff and local developers regarding some possible rezoning of parcels of land within the core area. And along with the Director of Finance, I attended a presentation from the RCMP Chief Superintendent Kevin Lewis and his staff in conjunction with the revenue sharing discussions. The presentation was to go over RCMP resources, initiatives, equipment, and community policing within the province. And like I said, I was able to take some time off, and I would like to give a big thank you to Deputy CAO for stepping in when I was off. He did a great job. So, if there's any questions, I'll be willing to answer them. Right, thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's a well-deserved vacation. You work hard, so thank you. Great. Okay, we'll now move on to Safety Services. I'll ask Councillor Jackson, who chairs that committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will call up Corporal Weatherby in a moment here to give us a report from the RCMP, but no meeting of Safety Services in August, but we are meeting next week. Looking forward to a full agenda there. Maybe I will bring up Corporal Weatherby if you'd like, and I appreciate you being here, and I apologize we didn't, we were swamped last meeting, Corporal Weatherby, and we didn't get to hear from you, but
It's fine.
yeah, so maybe just some, I had some notes here, but I'd love to hear your kind of thoughts in the last month. And
Yeah, so for the month of August, for Stratford, we had 272 occurrences in total. We're still at around 42%, which was down, I guess, for July for the traffic
Yeah.
side of things. So traffic-related offenses make up 42% of those occurrences. There was 45 summary offense tickets issued for the month of August, along with 20 written warning violations as well. Through August, we had, and obviously with the traffic enforcement, with the Stratford RCMP members, we had our assistance provided too as well from the provincial traffic section, that they help us out quite a bit there too. So we had limited, I guess, like some community involvement. We had a lot of vacation members taking vacation and whatnot through. So on top of the busier call volume, we managed with, a little less during that month, which is fairly typical of the summer months as well. We had 9 impaired complaints. Out of those, one was impaired by alcohol, one was a refusal to provide a sample, and one was a roadside suspension, 7-day suspension. We were fairly busy as well with 6 trespass at night, 9 trespass act files, and 12 mischief obstructing enjoyment of property. A higher percentage of those was some of the encampments that were coming into Stratford, and some unhoused individuals in the Stratford area on various properties, Stratford town properties and some business properties as well. So we were quite busy. We had a pretty close working relationship there with the town of Stratford and like the CAO and deputy CAO and various councillors and residents and business owners out of that. So I think we all worked together on that to address the some of the issues with that. We had 21 reports of thefts. 17 of those were gas related. So we're still seeing those the gas drive-offs, and a high percentage of those are accidental, or the tap wasn't working, or they thought they tapped it. So that's about it. If there's any other questions,
If I may, just looking at the speeding violations, I'm not sure what page of the package it is, but looks like they're up kind of double over what we had 2023, 2022, so which is great to see for us, seeing that increased enforcement. And back to the map, I don't know if it's not up there, but just seeing the spread of where our members are in the community and providing that enforcement and even just the visibility and you know, that goes a long way to prevent speeding and other behaviors. So yeah, so some theft and mischief, a lot of those you said were inadvertence, fraud, seeing some frauds. I guess one thing, welcome Constable Anthony Dowling, who just started, I guess, I think.
he just started this week. And he transferred in from him and his family. He was originally from PEI, and he transferred in from, he was up in Whitehorse. So he was in a busy detachment area. So he's and I've known Constable Dowling since he was very young.
Yeah, I had got a chance to speak with him a couple times today. He is a former colleague of mine. We worked at Green Gables together. He offered some very sage golf advice. I think I told you guys, take 2 weeks off and then quit forever. So that was, he's wise, but it's great to see in my discussions with him today, really thanked him for coming to our community and hope that he can stay a long time. And with your leadership and the others, it's great. So I know he's excited to be here. Any other questions for Corporal Weatherby while we're on the RCMP file?
I just want to have a question to Corporal Weatherby and probably Jeremy Crosby, and everybody can handle this. Regards to some concerns last night there, talking about Briar Jones. It's in our ward, Jody and I's ward, and the concerns are parking. I know as a former policeman, we ran into a lot of parking problems from the old Browns Court. And what we did up there is implemented signs and ticketed and towed and cleaned the area up pretty completely. Now, Briar Jones subdivision is a beautiful subdivision. It's the landscape and everything else up there. The buildings are well constructed. If you go to Calgary, you see this all over Calgary. I mean, it's nothing new. It's beautiful buildings. But the problem up there is the parking. We have in Kelly Heights, we have the same thing, duplexes, but the cars are 6 in the driveway, and we can't control how many people are in the yards. So we talked about it, and we talked about it, and talked about it. We haven't got no signs implemented yet. There's no enforcement at all, and I'm just asking where we can go from here, because I want to keep pushing this. So I want to have a meeting, discuss this meeting, and clean this up and move forward.
So one thing we can do is we can request for the Department of Transportation to put up signs.
Yeah.
And then we can ask the RCMP to enforce the rules when the signs are put up. But I believe we had a request to have this on the next committee of the whole meeting, and we will have that on there for discussion. But we have done that in the past. There's areas where there was parking issues. We've put the signs up, and then the RCMP enforced it afterwards. So
Yeah.
I actually took a drive up through Briar Jones today, and during the day, I guess when everybody's at work, it didn't seem to be that bad.
No, I was there today, too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But I would say during the evening, it's probably much worse,
Yeah.
so. But anyway, we can have those discussions for sure.
We just got to have some controls.
Yep.
and controls put in place, and that'll implement all the changes there, and it'll work well. I mean, no cars on the road for emergency service and so on, same with snow removal. So we just got to implement that and get that done.
Yeah, there are processes we can take, but again, it's a request to the Department of Transportation. They'll have to review that and then get back to us, and then if the signs are put up, we'll ask the RCMP to enforce the rules.
Yep. Yep, thank you very much. Thanks, Corporal and Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you for that, and I agree. So, you know, that development's been brought up a lot, and the thing is, I guess, to remind folks that, you know, it meets, the requirement for parking was met. The reality is that we all know why there's more cars. It's harder to afford a place. Takes a lot more folks to be able to afford rent. So it's not a, you know, we get criticized for being a bad design maybe sometimes in some of these areas, but it's not that, it's the reality of the situation around rents. And so want to make sure that's clear to folks. When we're talking about 1.5 or 1 or 2 parking spots, that's based on sound evidence. It just happens to be that in some areas, it's based on the rents, it takes a lot more folks to be able to afford it. So just don't want folks to, you know, criticize planning principles when it's more just the reality of the situation in the world we're living in right now. And we're not there yet with, I'll talk about transit in a moment. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Yeah.
But don't want to unfairly characterize something as being, you know, bad. When there are things we can do, we have mechanisms that we can do something. And I'm encouraged to think that we're going to potentially look at posting, and that'll take care of that. But I think in time it will sort itself out. It's just right now, it's unfortunate. Anything else for Corporal Weatherby while we have him up here? And
To add to that, Deputy Mayor Gallant and Councillor Jackson, just with, in the past, even though there isn't signage, if obviously if there's a vehicle parked in the street and it's a work truck and it's taking up half the roadway in a residential area, even though there's the no parking signs, if we go up and do a bit of an assessment on it, I've done several, and if I see that cars, it's affecting the traffic flow, we've done it in the past and it's been successful, just to be going to have a talk with them and explaining the situation, and they'll either remove it or put it into the driveway or whatnot.
That's right. And it is folks, it's not folks coming in from somewhere else, it is folks that live there. And unfortunately, you know, like I said, there's a lot of folks living in folks that were, apartments are probably, or townhouses are probably designed for less. So thank you, Corporal Weatherby, and we will follow up with that initiative. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I think that's it as far as the RCMP. The one thing I was going to say, we're hearing a lot of some fraud, some scams out there. There's obviously the grandparent scam that we heard of, Corporal Weatherby, and they did make some arrests on that. There's a Bell scam around right now where folks are getting coaxed by the promise of some better rates. I know everybody's tired of paying $300 a month for internet and phone and things like that, but just when folks are coming to your door selling services, just make sure you do ask that for things to confirm they are legitimate, because there are folks out there legitimately selling services, and I'm one that was skeptical myself in a couple instances, and they have actually panned out to be legitimate. Not saying there aren't you know, fraud schemes out there, but not everyone is should be painted with the same brush. So if you do have people coming to your door, if you're not expecting someone and you don't want to answer it, don't answer it, especially seniors. But do your diligence when you're asking about that, and don't give out any personal or financial information, obviously, to someone you don't know. So maybe I'll leave it at that, Corporal Weatherby, and I do thank you and Constable Dowling for helping to follow up on a couple of these scams that have been kind of seen in our neighborhood and in our community in the last little bit.
I think Councillor Cox.
I just got one small thing, just,
Sure.
Just to add on what you just said. There's, I know on Facebook there's a page. The guy's first name is Spencer. I won't say his last name, but his page got hijacked about 4 days ago, and the people who hijacked his page listed like 15 items, like a golf cart for $1,000. Brand new truck looked like for $5,000. All these things listed. And if you send me a deposit, I will definitely hang on this for you. But when you read the language of it, you know, the person said like, he is glad to have the extra money for other expenses on coming holidays. It's just broken English kind of thing. It made no sense in the write-up. But it says if you pay a deposit, you know, I'll mark a sold your name on it, and down payment is to hold acceptable. He said, the person says, down payment is to hold is acceptable. So you can tell it's a fraudulent page, but, so I posted on my Facebook account that do not send this person any money. And I thought logically no one's going to, but different people got a hold of me and said, well, I was thinking it was really good, like these are really good items and really fantastic. I'm like, no, they're like, well, thank you for posting it, but were you aware of this one at all? Has anybody contacted you guys? And I know you're supposed to contact Facebook and they're supposed to take care of it, but it does take days for them to take care of it. Meanwhile, the person does collect, you know, $100, $200 off different people, right? So.
I'm only aware of one open file in relation to Facebook Marketplace, but that is basically the ruse. They go in under that, they basically hijack their
Yeah.
Facebook account and then looking to sell tickets to Taylor Swift, things like that. So there are some open, so it is a concern because some of the people buying those they either recognize them or have friends that are on their Facebook as friends.
Right.
And so they're automatically being trusted based
Right.
on the identity theft, really.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one person said to me, Spencer, oh dear, I know his parents really well, and I can't believe he did that. I'm like, no, he didn't do it. His site was hacked, right? But how many people would be sending, even if 1 in 1,000 people, and there'd be thousands that see that, sent $100. I mean, the guy's collecting, you know, the person's collecting a fair bit of money, right? So it's very sad because you can't get a hold of Facebook and within an hour it's down. It takes a long time, right? So that's, and that's all these guys need is 2 days.
Yeah, I had one today, I get dinged for $100, Amazon gift card, and it was 5 minutes later I found out, changed my password, did everything. They refunded it back, but it was gone. So if you do have, I know this is kind of preaching a little bit, but if you have multi-factor authentication, if you get a text that goes to your phone, they might guess your password, but if to make a purchase you have to have a code comes to your phone, chances are they didn't steal your phone. So that's a lesson learned for me. I have that on all my accounts now as of today. And it's unfortunate because those things, I know in speaking to the RCMP and others, and sorry to have my back to you, Corporal Weatherby, but it's just an opportunity that it's so quick they can buy a gift card and put it to their account and it's gone. And it's not victimless because Amazon had to give me the money back. Somebody lost the money. Not me, but just be extra vigilant and diligent, and if something's too good to be true, like those trucks for $5,000 or a tractor for $1,500, be aware. The one thing I was going to ask, and I think it's something City Police has done, and I don't know if we could do it here or somewhere somewhere that we have the e-watch cameras, but they have that kind of safe zone around the City Police headquarters for transactions. Like it's something if you're doing some kind of transaction, you can go there, there's cameras, it's safe. If somebody's not willing to go meet you somewhere in the open to exchange goods, don't do it. I know we all are guilty of e-transfer and going and getting stuff, but it's just rampant out there right now, and money's scarce, so just be extra careful.
So were you asking?
Thank you.
Counselor, whether they're around the
Well, just
the detachment? Is
whether
there
it may
a
be
safe
something we
zone?
could consider, or maybe even, you know, the town hall being somewhere highly visible, just to, like, somewhere that you folks can trust, or in the mall parking lot, somewhere that they know that is visible. Doesn't have to be where there's cameras, but it provides a little bit of safety, and just you know, if you know I'm going to meet a stranger, but we're going to meet somewhere where there's e-watch cameras, or not far from the police detachment, then you have a lot more confidence in that. So maybe something we consider. Maybe we talk safety services about it, but just an idea with some of this. There's a lot of scamming going on, so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, Councillor Jackson, I think that's a great idea, and even if something over at the emergency
Yeah,
services
I
building.
was gonna say that.
Because
I didn't wanna-
there is cameras
Yeah.
in the parking lot of the building as well, so.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Corporal Weatherby, we will mention that at Safety Service. It's just another, it's something we could do to help with this to, yeah.
Okay, and we
Okay.
can also maybe ask that we get some messaging out, if
Yeah.
possible, to
Yeah, it's just
inform people
unfortunate.
about that sort of good practice for, especially if you have a valuable item and
Yeah.
you don't want somebody coming to your house or to,
Well, that's another thing is the
Where-
trust in just having strangers come into your house. It's much easier to go meet. We used to meet at the
yeah,
Patrick Camp with the Tims and stuff, but it's, yeah, it's, we'll look at that, but I think there's some good, I know Wendy would no doubt have lots of best practices and things that we can put out in media to just
Yeah.
remind folks.
thank you.
Yeah. I think that's it. Corporal Weatherby, thank you very much for your continued leadership in the community, and again, a warm welcome to Constable Dowling.
I just wanted to pass on to Corporal Weatherby, one of the things I discussed with your commanding officer was how pleased we are as a town that you and your officers are connecting with youth and with seniors, and that visibility, that increased visibility really means a lot, and so we really appreciate that.
Thank you,
So,
Worship.
and I pass that on to your commanding officer, so thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to the Humane Society report. It's in your package, fairly standard month. So I won't, in the essence of time, we'll get into that unless there's any questions. Hearing none. Transit, so we have our transit numbers in our package. Again, nice to see us maintaining that 300 plus per day average. We're still not there yet where we are going to see a lot less cars, but we are moving in the right direction. So unless there's any questions on that, again, some great work on driving transit usage, and may not be that helpful with the way the traffic is right now, but it's good to see the adoption rates are still very high, and more people actually taking other methods to get across the bridge these days.
Did you say people are taking longer to get across the bridge?
I've heard, it's funny, I was stuck in traffic with one of our ministers from Stratford today, and we had a chat while we missed the light 3 times at Sobeys. But this is progress, has to happen. Thanks, Corporal Weatherby.
Thanks.
Unfortunately, all the arteries into town are being done at once, but you know what, that's the cost of progress, and I know it's frustrating, and not everybody can afford to be late for work. So we beg patience. It's not really in our realm of control right now, but we do hear folks out there, and we also agree with the frustration, and we are looking forward to when those traffic construction projects are wrapping up.
If I could just comment on that, Councillor, I just want to say that I appreciate, all the efforts that our staff have done to connect with Department of Transportation
Yes.
and with city,
Yep.
city officials as well that are engaged in this to try to pass on the message that, we really want to make sure that we have the best act, as good as it can be is being done, because it is, right now, at a couple of points, it wasn't acceptable, and we did raise a bit of a fuss about it, and hopefully it got their attention, and I hope things will get better very soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. And we did, I know we've made our feelings known to the mayor of Charlottetown, I think at the golf tournament the other day as well. So he's aware. So yeah, we, unfortunately, it's another little bit we're going to be going through this, but again, beg patience on behalf of our residents, and nice to see the speed limit is down. Hopefully that'll prevent some road rage, some speeding, and some incidents. I see a lot of people are not actually slowing down yet, but they will. The message is getting out there. If I may move on to the fire company report, we had 20 calls in August, 4 fires. One you may be familiar with, a vehicle on fire in the bridge, not that long ago, I guess maybe the end of the month. A lot of people thought it was an electric truck. It was not. It was a gas truck, and there was a pressure washer, I think, that caught fire in the back. So just thought I'd say that before Councillor Cox starts ranting about the electrics. So we had 6 MVAs, 5 medical first response, and 1 water rescue. There was a kayaker, and again, very pleased to have the new rapid response boat in the garage down there at the Emergency Services Center. It's been very valuable. Again, as Your Worship, you mentioned, it's a volunteer fire company. Funds are scarce. Really do want to thank Rural Development for helping fund, I probably shouldn't say it too loud, but helping fund that purchase. So we are lucky that we do have the capacity and the capabilities to get out and answer those calls. Again, we had a good discussion with senior staff, CAO, and our financial guru, and the representatives from the fire company on the current and ongoing needs for the fire company. So I know I'm pleased that Your Worship, you brought that up as well as we work towards some solutions there as we grow as a town. So that's pretty much it for the report. I have a question, but I think I'll hang on to it until infrastructure. Anyone have any other questions?
Not a question, but just, I'm not trying to pile on, but just to echo what you've already said, Councillor, as well as Mr. Mayor, about the situation with the construction. I do appreciate our staff reaching out to the provincial staff. I've heard it from a few people, and I think it's absolutely right, is that, some of the messages from the city and the province is just be patient, just bear with us, and that's all well and good, and I understand that, but I have to say something that, there is a lot of people out there, for instance, who are working at the hospital, who they have to be there. It's not just an office job. You have to be there to care for the patients or to save lives, and a lot of people are squeezed on both ends because a lot of families, they're waiting for the bus to come. They can't leave early. So I mean, I know it's not an ideal situation, but one would have hoped, I think at a certain point, that some alternate routing might have taken place, and it's not been done. I hope that there's just a little more consideration for not just the people in Stratford here, but everybody east, essentially, of Charlottetown, taking that lower way, because there's a lot of people who can't, because of their childcare situations, can't get away. They can't leave early, and it's not as if, they're just sitting in an office somewhere. They're hands-on, and they're saving lives. So let's hope they wrap it up. Let's hope that there's a little more due consideration for working at night in that area, because the consideration so far has been, well, we don't want to inconvenience the residents in the area. Well, a couple hundred residents in the area or thousands and thousands of motorists. I think there has to be a little more strategic decision-making happening there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Councillor. Going in earlier is not the answer for folks. People have other commitments. They have, like you said, young children. They have elderly parents. They have folks that they're looking after. And I agree. I was sitting in traffic. I mean, it's been a 40-minute drive. That's usually a 10-minute drive for me every day. Not that, that's not so bad. But my concern's really around emergency equipment, trying to get through with both lanes jammed up all the way to town and the intersections as well. It's dangerous, and so I understand and I agree. It frustrated a little bit that the nighttime consideration wasn't given more weight, but also the idea of maybe switching lanes. I know it's not as simple as everyone thinks it is, but there's got to be a way that we can, if not for this project, but for future ones, that we can think about that. It's not rocket science, and folks have gotten onto the displaced turn roundabout at St. Peter's Highway. I think we could easily get around an idea of 3 lanes going in one way. So I do appreciate you brought that up, and my comments weren't really to diminish the anguish that people are feeling in the mornings, but it's we can only impact it so much, but we do. I appreciate your voice on this, and those of residents who I see every morning and have gotten to know really well as we sit in the same place for 10 minutes at a time. So thank you for that.
And I just wanted to add, because I can see the frustration is growing, and it is also having a big impact within the education system, especially in bus routes where high school kids are on the same buses as junior high and have to make that stop. So I know my kids, their first stop maybe wasn't to Birchwood until 8:50 earlier this week. So they're arriving there's buses arriving and they're disrupting
Yeah,
school, period.
yeah. it's
So
not-
even if we don't look at the jobs, we can at least also acknowledge that. And I echo your comments in regards to emergency vehicles. I've witnessed it a couple of times. And when I do, my first thought is if that was one of my family members in the back of that ambulance, I would be heartbroken
I agree.
that they had, that their, route was impeded in this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and the tying up the intersections, I've been guilty of it probably once in the last few weeks, but it's not appropriate. Just with that in mind, it really kind of hits you when you see an emergency vehicle trying to get across, and those last 3 cars that shouldn't have went are still stuck there. So remind residents that that extra 1 light you make it through is not worth potentially harming someone else's ability to get to the hospital or somewhere else. The one last thing on this, I don't mean to belabor this, but it's nice to see on the education side, PSB kind of reaffirming the idea that we should have, and we know that already around a junior high. And the high school is coming, and yes, it's costing a lot of money. And, we're dealing with this now. Hopefully, future, the families in the near future aren't going to have to deal with what we're dealing with this. I know it's not just because we are entitled or feel entitled to a school. We deserve one. We have the people, we have all the data supporting that we should have it over here. So it's nice to see that continue to be pushed. We really need to see a commitment in the capital budget for this soon. I know it's a recommendation from PSB. They're going to come back and formally recommend it, but I think as a council, we should try to jump on the idea that we push, like we did in 2017-18, to make sure that this is included in the capital budget. Yes, it may be 5-6 years away, but this is evidence here why we need this.
That's a good point,
right now.
Councillor. That's a very good point. And I think the capital budget comes down in November, I believe. So I think there are hearings before that. I would encourage council and any resident to go and plead our case or make a case or just put their comments forward in support of this because it's badly needed.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of discussion than last time. We know that the support is there from the PSB, and we've heard from government as well. But to keep it to this, reminding them of the real reasons why, with the growth in the community, with all the traffic issues we have. I think we said there's 35,000 cars a day go by Sobeys, and so again, like we did last time in 2017-18 and further on, keep it to the facts and make our case and push as a group if we can, just to make sure this happens. And that's my report, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Jackson? No? Okay. We'll move on now then. Thank you for your report, Councillor. We'll now move on to recreation, culture, and events. I'll ask Councillor Jill Chandler to give her report.
Okay, thank you. This is just an overview of what's happening within the Recreation, Culture, and Events Department. The Youth Council opened for the season just this past Monday. 65 youth members registered for the new season, which is higher than we typically see at the beginning of the year, which is great. Birthday packages are being offered again through the youth center, and a neat initiative this year is that older youth members will be hired to supervise the parties, giving them a part-time job and some valuable work experience. The 3rd annual Cheryl Duffy Walk is going to be taking place on Saturday, September 21st at Cotton Park as part of Stratford Fall Fest, and the registrations are now open on the Youth Center website. And the Youth Center will be running the fun fair and canteen at the Stratford Fall Fest. So as far as events go, we've got the Fall Fest at Robert Cotton Park. That's September 21st and 22nd between 1 and 6. A variety of activities and performances are planned for the 2-day event, and you can see in the report kind of what is on deck there. In regards to our baseball fields, we hosted 3 provincial championships on successive weekends. The 13U baseball provincials, August 23rd through 26th, the U17 softball provincials, which were August 30th through September 1st at Upper McNeil, and the 11U AAA baseball provincials, September 6th through 8th at Upper McNeil Field. And we want to say congratulations to the U11A Tier 3 Stratford, Burge, Provincial champs, gold medal, U11A Tier 2, Stratford Provincial silver medal, U11AA Stratford Provincial champs, gold medal, U11 AAA Eastern Express Provincial champs, gold medal, and the U11 Stratford Steelers Provincial champs with a gold medal. In regards, yes, let's give a round of applause. In regards to the, sorry, did you have a question? Go ahead. Oh, a lot of gold, yes. Programs, the fall programs have returned to the Stratford Town Centre after a summer of outdoor programming. And, you know, as always, we have lots of uptick in all seasons programming. The Stratford ball, soccer, and cricket fields, along with tennis and pickleball facilities, were in constant use from May through September. Stratford Splash Pad is closed for the season as of September 3rd. Soccer fields at the Stratford Soccer Complex will see some fall care and attention, with fields A, C, and D and Kepwick Field going to undergo fall maintenance starting next Monday, and Field B and Fullerton staying open through October 1st. Similar maintenance for the cricket fields. And we also have new returning programs open for registration now. You can see that in your package. And finally, that goes for the arts programs as well. Town Center Gymnasium and meeting spaces are operating at full capacity. And as we have discussed numerous occasions, the addition of the Kids Hub after-school program taking place in half a gym and on the stage between Monday through Fridays, 3 to 5, and on the stage 3 to 5:30 p.m. I also wanted to say thank you to town staff and councillors and residents who supported the Stuff a Bus food drive that happened, with the final day happening at the No Frills location. People were very, very generous, and as we know, the need is increased for people's reliance on the food bank, so thank you. And thank you to town staff that I had the opportunity to golf with last week at the Chambers Golf Tournament. It was awesome. So if anyone has any questions. Oh, I should also say, we've made some changes, and Jeremy can speak to this if needed. Battery Point Room has been converted into 3 office spaces for the expanding planning department, so the loss of that meeting room will be made up with the availability of meeting space at the Stratford Emergency Service Center. And that concludes this report. Finally, I keep saying that's it. Our Arts and Culture Subcommittee has its first meeting scheduled for tomorrow, so we'll get underway in that regard.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Just one question. I know it's not our program necessarily, but I'm wondering if you've heard any feedback on how the after-school programming is going with Kid Hub? Or
I
maybe
have
Mr.
not.
Pierce, if you've heard anything? Yeah. Appreciate that it's not our program, but just wondering if you've gotten any feedback.
From a logistics and operational point of view, so far so good. I've only had the fortunate, or was fortunate once to talk with one parent who was very happy to see that it was here in the town. The comment they made was that there's a little bit more offering potentially here at this facility with the gymnasium, the stage, the outdoor amenities, than what they might get at a private residence.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I think that it did meet a great need, eh? Like there would have been a shortfall if you and your staff hadn't stepped forward and made the arrangements to make that available for the Kid Hub program. So thank you for doing that. That was a great response, and thank council for your efforts in meeting this need as well, because I think it really, it's like electricity. Once it's gone, you really notice it, but as long as it's there, it's not noticed. But I just want to make sure that people know that this was a great response to a potential problem for a lot of families.
Yeah, there was the response was certainly met not only from the town but from the province and private operators and such. So we're fortunate that we have wonderful facilities within our community that are able to share some space and provide that opportunity.
And Jeremy, just to look at the entire picture, have we received any feedback from folks who would typically be using the gym at that time? We've received any?
At this point, no.
Okay.
Oh, one last thing, Jeremy. Like some people have contacted myself, some other counselors I know, obviously they contacted Jill about the arts program, and I forwarded them on to you. You had there's some people kind of irate, one more than the others. But if you had any more people reaching out or anything about that, but the cost of the art programs now are,
No, we just have one individual that's expressed a concern to the town.
yeah, and we've all kind of emailed her, myself, yourself especially, and I think that's kind of put to rest, but I was thinking there may be a few more coming that way, but I'm just glad that maybe the word's out now and it was explained pretty well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the cost of some programs had to increase, but the town offers a variety of programs at a user pays model, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they vary from program to program depending on what the costs are. So I think overall, all the programs that the town offers are at the lowest possible cost.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, thank you for your report, Councillor. We'll now move on to Finance and Technology. I'll ask Councillor Ron Dowling, Chair of that committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Finance and Technology Committee did not meet last month. We are resuming our regular monthly meetings next week. I do have a brief report submitted by Director O'Connell, and it's an overview of projects and items being worked on within the Finance Department. The next round of utility disconnects will be done the week of September 23rd. There were 171 first letters issued to utility customers with a due date of September 13th. There were 22 second letters issued to utility customers with a due date of August 26th. And the people that have not paid will go to the disconnect stage. Of course, we're hoping that won't be realized and that people will respond and make those accounts squared. Staff participated in the emergency measures operation exercise and training session. They met with Cornwall to review revenue sharing information and go over how we were allocating expenses to different categories. And that's in preparation for, in conjunction with a couple of other items I'll mention momentarily, with our efforts to work through the Federation of PEI municipalities to coordinate negotiations among similar-sized communities throughout the province on the provincial revenue sharing program, which unfortunately is several years overdue, and we're certainly hoping that it will be resolved prior to the next budget negotiations within the community. Attended a meeting with the RCMP, the province, and Federation of PEI municipalities to discuss what is included in contract policing under the RCMP and to review statistics for the past year. And that's to, again, to help in relation to this community's position for negotiations with the province, and to get a handle on specifically what it is that we're paying for and where those expenses are going. Met with the directors to review revenue sharing information, submitted financial information to the FPEIM, participated in virtual meeting with MRSB, who has been hired by the PEI-FM to gather information for the revenue sharing negotiations with the province. And as you mentioned earlier, Your Worship, the audit is complete and the draft financial statements have been presented by Michelle Burge of MRSB. And in the near future, that draft financial statement will be made available to the broader public through our town website. The Public School Board lease comments have been received from the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. We're now making final changes so that the lease can be renewed. Attended the Canada Community Building Fund information session, and funding requests need to be submitted by mid-October. And this is for the gas tax funding. I met with the fire company to review their financial needs for the future. And as well, Your Worship, as we're all aware, we have an employee from the Finance Department leaving the town for a new job opportunity. And we wish Audra all the best in her new position. I understand she'll be leaving in coming days. And if I'm correct, I think she was with the town for, I want to say 28 years? 24. So, yeah. Good chunk of the town's existing as an amalgamated community. So we're fortunate to have her with us, and our loss is the province's gain. Also, Your Worship, I do have included in the package the town income statement for August 2024, updated to 4th of September, and the utility income updated to the 4th of September as well. So if there's any questions in relation to that brief report or either income statement, we'd be happy to address those. Otherwise, Your Worship, that completes my report for this month.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions on Councillor Dowling's report? I just want to say, Councillor, that I was really pleased, as I mentioned earlier in my preamble, that I was really pleased with the financial statistics and financial information that I was briefed on at the meeting. I know I can't say too much about it until it's released to the public, but I just think the level of diligence and professionalism and the good value for taxpayers' dollars is really being realized. I think it was almost a 10-to-1 ratio for money invested to assets, the value of assets put in place. So I think that's a really good, healthy community that has those kind of numbers. So anyway, I look forward to seeing the release for the public, because I think we should be really proud of those results.
Yeah, it was a very positive report, and I think it positions us well going forward, Your Worship, and I'll commend our staff, not only in assisting MRSB in relation to development of the report, all the work that they do to gather information and package that information for MRSB, but also staff overall, stemming from the CAO through his directors and through their staff, and the diligence that they portray day to day, not only in how they execute policy and get things done within the community at the best possible price that can be obtained, but also in their continued and diligent efforts in sourcing different funding vehicles through which we can expand our parks and expand our trail system and other infrastructure. So yeah, I commend staff. We're very fortunate in Stratford to have the staffing system that we do have in place.
And the only other thing that I might comment on is I really want to give a tribute to Audra Bulger. She really has, performed well and really given us, great service from the town, for the whole town. She's a face, if you don't know Audra, she's the person who greets most residents when they come to town hall, and some people are not happy about one thing or another, but Audra has a way of diffusing situations and really being able to make people feel that what they have to say is important, and so we're really going to miss her, and I really wish her well, and I know we all wish her well.
On that point, Your Worship, very quickly, our staff are not the only public-facing people that have to deal with members of the public, and the vast majority of those interactions are, of course, positive and cordial. There are a few on occasion that are otherwise, and that simply won't be tolerated in the town of Stratford, or shouldn't be tolerated at any type of service provision. People really have to, if they are upset, check themselves and realize that the person they're dealing with isn't the cause of their angst. And if somebody comes in and they're at level 10, there's not going to be served, and if they're go beyond, then the police would be called. But I expect, like I say, we'll move from 95% to 100%, because Stratford, by and large, is a very positive community, and it's not very often that we have somebody come in causing a scene or causing distress to staff, but just to remind people, just kind of be cautious and ask themselves how they or their children would feel if, members of the public were coming to their workplace and making them feel bad or causing a scene by shouting or swearing and that sort of thing. So keep it positive, and we're fortunate. I think by and large it is positive. I can't even cite any. I've never received a complaint myself. Maybe other councillors have, or yourself. I know there have been occasions in the past, but by and large it's positive interactions. But we don't want to minimize it and say that staff, although they are very good at diffusing situations, they shouldn't be put in a situation where they have to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for your report, Councillor. We'll now move on to Planning, Development and Heritage. I'll ask Councillor Jeff McDonald, chairs that committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So you have the building permit summaries before you, as well as our development fee surveys. That's our overview, I should say. The highlight, I think, in the permitting summaries is that Redden Heights is beginning to take some shape. If anyone drives down the Stratford Road, you will note that building footings are now coming in on the end of Billy McMillan, as well as the upper side of Redden Heights. So great to see that neighborhood getting underway. Certainly it'll be a welcome addition to our town, and a lot of great people will no doubt be moving in as soon as they're able to. In terms of the values, we're a little off from a year ago. Commercial development was light in August, though that's to be expected to a certain extent given the time of the year. We are certainly well in advance of our already impressive numbers in 2023 on the institutional side with respect to the high school, as well as some of our features in and around the community campus, as well as a very strong year for commercial development, as well as multifamily development. So great to see. Stratford certainly growing, as always, as evidenced in some of the commentary in social media, but as well as at public meetings. Some concerns there with growth as well. It's our job not to constrain growth, but to manage it in the appropriate fashion. We'll continue to do so, and I have no doubt our town staff will continue to do so as well. We have one resolution for you on the planning side for your consideration tonight, Council. I will read it into the record at this time. It bears number PH 024-2024, DP 143-24, from the Stratford Youth Centre located at 57 Bunbury Road, PID 860379, requesting a temporary use permit for up to 3 food trucks for the 2024 Fall Festival. It comes from Planning and Heritage and is moved by myself as chair of that committee. And it reads as follows. Whereas an application has been received from Melanie Weatherby on behalf of the Stratford Youth Centre for a temporary use development permit for up to 3 food trucks, which are proposed to be located at the Cotton Centre property at 57 Bunbury Road, PID 860379, adjacent to the Gertrude Cotton building as part of the town's annual Fall Fest, which takes place Friday, September the 20th to Sunday, September the 22nd, 2024. And whereas in accordance with Section 8.20 of the Zoning and Development Bylaw, where Council deems that there would be no health or safety risks to users and there would be no significant nuisance created for adjoining properties, Council may issue a temporary development permit enabling the temporary erection of a building or structure and/or the temporary use of land to accommodate a celebration or event. Whereas the duration of a temporary use permit shall not exceed 30 days, and whereas Council may attach conditions to a temporary use permit which are appropriate to ensure the health and safety of residents, visitors, neighboring residents, or to minimize any potential nuisances. Be it resolved that approval be granted to development permit application DP 143-24 from Melanie Weatherby on behalf of the Stratford Youth Centre for a temporary use development permit for up to 3 food trucks which are proposed to be located at the Cotton Centre property at 57 Bunbury Road, adjacent to the Gertrude Cotton building as part of the town's annual Fall Fest, subject to the following conditions. 1. Up to 3 food trucks may be located on the Cotton Park property under this temporary use permit. 2. That the food trucks shall be operated and be located as per the application description and site plan dated August 30th, 2024, and the hours of operation shall be as follows. Wednesday, September 18th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Thursday, September 19th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, September 20th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, September 21st from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Sunday, September 22nd from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 3, that each food truck operator shall provide the town with a valid copy of their food service license or permit and any other relevant license or permits issued by the province prior to the respective food truck being located on the Cotton Centre property. 4, that the food truck shall be removed as soon as reasonably possible and not exceeding 30 days following the issuance of this permit. And 5, that the applicant shall ensure that the cleanup of all debris around the location and the site is reinstated to its previous condition prior, or that should probably read after, or previous condition prior to the event. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. This resolution does bear the recommendation of the Planning Development Heritage Committee obtained via an email poll conducted between September 4th and September 10th, 2024. And that is the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Seconder? Do I have a second? Thank you. Councillor Jackson? I think item 5 should read reinstated as it was in its previous condition prior to the event or something like that. Something, it just needs a couple of more words there.
Just to be absolutely sure that it's as it was before the event.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As it was before the event, yeah. Okay, any discussion?
I'll just note, Mr. Mayor, that certainly this has been our practice in the last number of Fall Fests to accommodate some food service options for people who are attending our Fall Fest. There's 2 that have been confirmed to date, one of which is called Blowing Smoke Barbecue Limited and operates Southern-style barbecue food and sandwiches and sides. There is a website in our planning package to peruse, I think, some of their offerings. Looks great, looks promising. And then the other one as well is Ruthie's Mini Donuts, which is operated by Ruth Stead and is fully licensed and inspected. That food truck serves fresh donuts. Certainly I may attend. They're looking to set up on September the 21st from 1 to 6. Blowing Smoke Barbecue is looking for a more expansive time frame between the 18th and the 22nd. So certainly feel free to visit there. I believe, Honor, if we can bring up the map, showing the property map of Cotton Park. If we can just go down to the ViewWorks map, that would be great. I think it's just the, yeah. There we go. You'll note the location is shaded in yellow, just sort of south of the bandstand. That's as it was in years past. We've had different food trucks each year, certainly, but it should look very similar in terms of its layout. Councilor Chandler, I don't know if you have anything to offer on the layout or anything on the recreation side or Mr. Pierce, but I think it's going to be basically the same as it has been, with the exception, I suppose, that we're going to have 2 food trucks there this year. But subject to any questions or subject to anything else, Mr. Ruff, that I'm missing, that is the resolution for your consideration.
Any comments or questions on this?
I just have one, Your Worship. I know last year we ran into a lot of problems with the power going off. I know if that's facilitated now, Jeremy, or I know the power is going off, and we had to call members in when it was going off all the weekend.
Yeah, we have we have generators on site, and then we also this year commissioned through 2 additional, portable electrical boxes, so to speak, for our events. So now we have 3 of them, so they'll be dispersed throughout the site.
Great.
Just one extra question on folks trying to get across from the community gardens, if there's for overflow, is there anything we can do any further, like signage, or the TIE has signs that they might put up to slow people down coming around the slingshot by the garage there? Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, the community gardens is definitely not ideal location for this event, seeing that it's across the street. But one of the things that we've discussed and we'll try to put in place is parking on McDonald Drive in that vacant. Pardon me? It was there, but it was along the road, similar to Canada Day, where we made a grid system right on the grass, make an additional parking lot in that grassed-in area. That would be an additional asset for us.
Thank you for that. I just thinking some folks are used to parking at the community gardens parking lot, and as the days get shorter and visibility gets worse. Thanks for that, Jeremy.
Okay, we have a moved and seconded motion on the floor. Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor.
You're welcome, sir. That's it for my report.
Thank you. Okay, infrastructure, I'll call on Deputy Mayor Gallant to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The report for September 11th, 2024. Installation of 11 new hydrants along Mason Road and Myrtle Street has begun. This will improve the firefighting ability to these areas, providing the proper spacing required between hydrants and based on current standards. Work at the waterfront boardwalk has been completed with minor deficiencies, will be corrected, and official opening will be held in coming weeks. I use the boardwalk every day with my walking my dog, and I tell you, it's unreal. It's I encourage everybody to take a look at it. The quality is number one, and the work done there is really, talking to people on the boardwalk there is just positive. It's really nice. What a great job. And phase one with the waterfront development there, but coming from a lagoon and going into that, and then down the road 4 more phases. So it was a great opportunity to see this done. Rooftop solar projects at the emergency center and maintenance and building on Hollis Avenue are progressing well. Setting up GIS line online to replace VUE Works as a asset management and viewer software for staff. A request for proposals have been issued for the design of multi-use path along Glen Stewart Drive, with funding secured for sump pump disconnection program. Staff is preparing the details for the project and material for promoting residents. This will help reduce the clean water inflow into the sanitary sewer system, resulting in lower operation and maintenance costs for the utility. Source and quotes to be complete. The water main repair work near Transcanada Highway and Kinloch Road intersection. Infrastructure staff has been busy with the following. Eaves and gutter repair work completed at Robert Gertrude Cotton Buildings. Downspouts and roof repair were completed at Town Hall. Painting and the skirting at the soccer complex. And of course, painting and upgrading the boards of the mesh of the Bunbury rink. What a difference that made replacing the mesh on the back of the old Bunbury rink. And it's in my area there. It's used a lot of positive comments on that, upgrading there. So that's great to see the maintenance do that. Great grass cutting and landscaping is ongoing throughout the town. Maintenance of sports fields and trails is ongoing. Preparation for additional bench installations has begun. Unsightly premises bylaw complaints continue to be received. Speed humps are now installed at 11 locations, including Glen Stewart Drive. All sets are now deployed. The fire hydrant exercise and painting is complete. Gravity sewer flushing continues, will be complete before the end of the year. Cleaning of lift stations is also being done. Increasing stock of chlorine in water stations due to the railway strike. Water and sewer inspections and water turn-ons for new development are ongoing. Ongoing inspection and maintenance of water and sewer systems. Managing ongoing customer and resident inquiries and concerns. During the month of August, there was a sewer lateral blockage on Lobster Point Lane, requiring a proportion of the utilities lateral to be replaced. The issue has been corrected. 2 water leaks in Reeves Estate were found to be on the customer side of the lateral and have been repaired. That's from a report. I had an opportunity today to talk to one of our senior members of staff, and they were very positive on the summer they had, and I talked about the summer staff they hired, and the youth and kids, and the member person said they were great workers all summer, and they had a busy summer, so everything over went for a part-time job, and everything went very, very well. So, and hats up, everything worked out really well.
That's great to hear.
Great to hear, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks
Yep.
for the report. Any comments or questions on the infrastructure report?
Just a question, I guess, and I know one of our fellow councillors brought this up just in discussions, but any update, Jeannie or Deputy Mayor, on the progress on the Rosebank Road active transportation path?
Ooh. Jeannie?
I guess the update is we were not successful in funding for that particular project. We had 3 applications go in under the Provincial Active Transportation Fund this year, and we had ranked Rosebank Road as our first priority. through the process. Somehow we got granted funding for the Glen Stewart Drive, which was our third priority noted. So it's not in our budget for this year. Beyond that, I guess I have no update other than sourcing more funding if that's a priority for the following year.
Thank you. That's just, yeah, I just wanted to have an update. So yeah, I imagine we will, when we get into budget discussions again, still look at that and where it ranks in the priority list, and maybe make a little bit firmer case to government on that. Our members, especially our ministers in this area. Thank you.
Just so the listening public understand how the process works, Jeannie, would you mind just informing people about the process, how these projects are submitted for funding?
The process in terms of prioritizing or the application process?
Yeah, my understanding is that we as a council and with staff's input, we sent forward a list of priorities, and when it goes to government, it is evaluated by their staff, and it's, does it go to the political level, or is it just at the staff level that these things are decided, or do you know that?
I don't really want to.
I don't know that either. I
guess
just wondered.
Personally, I don't know the whole process.
There's no back and forth. There's no questioning or anything like that. There's no.
With us, or?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, with the provincial authorities.
I had received, so they have a group, a working group on their active transportation fund committee. So
Okay.
they go through all of the applications. This is my knowledge of the process. They do go through the applications, and then they make their recommendations forward to the Treasury Board.
Okay.
I guess kind of surprised at how the outcome came through, because we did get a question on the Rosebank Road application. So I thought that they were looking at that for consideration at that time. But as we moved through the process, we got word that the Glen Stewart Drive was the project that was accepted. So beyond that, I don't know the specifics of the process, and
Yeah, and I guess for everyone's benefit, that does serve the whole outlying area of the town, and it connects the transit. It would connect the transit were it to be built, and it is something that was seen by council as a high priority. So
the Rosebank Road project
yes,
you're referring to.
yes, so,
Yes.
that is something that I guess we'll come back to hopefully next year.
That's right, I
If-
guess.
If council takes the same approach, and.
Yes, we can make that decision as to what priorities we want to
Sure.
look at for next year. and
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Provided
Your
the
Worship.
funding is still available.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson, for bringing that up. And I just have to say, while we're in this format, we had great conversations at great length about the priorities as a council, and navigated our way through that. And without that the active transportation or lack of trail on Rosebank is one thing, but we were also looking, because it was the bridge to connect us so that we could put potentially a crosswalk or something, because that whole side of our town does not have safe passage to the other side where there's sidewalks, bus stops, et cetera. So it was a priority for a number of reasons, and I know that you know that. I'm just saying it out loud again.
Yeah, and thank you, Councillor, for that, and for your fellow Councillor Moore too. And again, this is not, the projects that were approved were very worthy, and we're very happy to see them approved. And I know, Jeannie, I appreciate all the advocacy that you have on these projects and the questions that you answer. So again, I mean, if we understand that they don't always accept every priority, we will continue to push for the ones that we do value highly. But again, let's appreciate, and please pass on our thank you to the government representatives who actually funded the other two, which, again, like, we had a great debate over the validity of all of them, and ideally we do them all.
Yes.
So again, that's just something we will take forward when we get into the budget process. And if there's any, I guess the only question I have, Jeannie, is if there's any, magic windfall of active transportation money, could we make sure that one stays elevated? I guess that's all I'm asking. And I do appreciate all the work you did on all these.
And that's obviously a decision if we're looking at that as our top priority. I'm not aware of any additional active transportation funding right now that we could put that out through for, but, yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the infrastructure report? No? No? Okay, well, thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Jeannie. Thanks. We'll now move on to Committee of the Whole, and there's nothing from Committee of the Whole. We had a Committee of the Whole meeting, and yeah, so next item is item 15, Sustainability. I'll ask Councillor Gordy Cox to give his report, Chair of that committee.
Thank you, Mayor. The Sustainability Committee will resume meeting this fall after taking a break this summer, as some other committees also did. And the staff's working on putting together some items for us to work on as a committee. Business committee, community members of the business community are invited to the upcoming Greater Charlton Area Chamber of Commerce Business Mixer on the 27th this month for both members of the chamber and other businesses in Stratford. We look forward to seeing a really good turnout, and registration is open on the chamber's website for anyone interested in attending. The Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee has not met this summer also, but staff is also working on a lot of items, including the new resident welcoming event, which is this Saturday is coming up as part of the 2024 Fall Fest, and the town's legacy book project for the upcoming 30th anniversary of the town. Additional nominations for both the youth writers and resident interviewees are needed, and we encourage anyone to please submit your nominations on the town's website. The town tree planting program. This summer, the town of Stratford received funding from PEI's 2 Billion Trees program, allowing us to plant large trees throughout several parks and trails within the town. Approximately 150 trees have been planted this year across various locations. These newly planted trees play a vital role in absorbing carbon, providing much needed shade, contributing to the overall well-being of our residents by increasing the urban canopy. In addition to planting new trees, our summer staff was actively involved in the inspection, assessment, and maintenance of trees that were planted in previous years. This maintenance work include tasks such as pruning, staking, on-staking, replacing, etc. So thank you so much to our town staff who work hard all the time, especially when it comes to sustainability. National Forest Week, the town of Stratford is celebrating National Forestry Week, which takes place September 18th to 24th. We will be running a week-long social media campaign to share valuable information about the numerous benefits of forest provides for our community. We also organizing a guided walk in partnership with the Stratford Area Watershed Improvement Group at Fullerton's Trail. During this walk, participants will learn about the benefits of the forest, engage in tree identification, and explore various projects that have been carried out in the area. This event will take place on Thursday, September 26th from 6 to 7, and we encourage all residents to join us for this educational, engaging experience. The Net Zero Free program that is on presently by the provincial government, the single applications, they cover all free programs, including the oil to heat pump affordability program. There's no need to submit multiple applications. If you applied in the past and were accepted, then you're automatically, your file is open to review to be accepted for further heat pumps, etc. Islanders with an annual household net income of $100,000 or less may be eligible for a free heat pump and electric water heater for your home, and those who heat with oil may be eligible for heat pumps, systems, and other benefits based on the household size. Also, you should get to know this part because a lot of people think it's $100,000 or less, but if your household is a certain size and you have a larger family and your income, your household is $129,000 or less, you can also be eligible. The government of Prince Edward Island has finalized agreements with the government of Canada to deliver the oil to heat pump affordability program benefits through the free net zero program. If you have already received a free heat pump and use 500 liters of oil, this is a good example, per year, you may be eligible for more energy efficient equipment. Applicants who are approved for the oil to heat pump affordability program in Prince Edward Island will also receive a one-time payment of $250 from national resources. So I suggest that people go on to the government website, and there's application. There's a really easy link there to access the application point on their website, and I really think people should go on there and just read up on what is being offered through this net zero free program. So, and a final note, I just want to say that if you look around Stratford, and this past summer, a lot of work was done in relating to sustainability, and like Councillor Glant said, you know, and it was echoed by other councillors about going to the boardwalk, and had a chance to do that, and we really found that to be really a phenomenal place, and really well done, and looked to be a real mecca for the residents, and I look forward to people using that more and more as we complete each stage of the boardwalk. So, yeah, I really want to say hats off to everybody that contributed to that. So, and that's basically my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions or comments on the report?
I just have one for Councillor
Yeah.
Cox. I had been at a town event a couple of weeks ago where representatives were there from Hanson Electric, and they indicated that I guess there have been rumors, or there's been a discussion about the switch program coming back to at least Charlottetown. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
We've been pushing for that. Maybe I'll get Kim to talk about that. But we, as you know, we were the first land in Canada to have 2 programs be okayed. And I've talked online with various groups through the switch program, and had like Zoom meetings, and we were really a showcase for the switch program, and they referred to Stratford all kinds of time in the literature, their websites, even in that meeting, about how successful Stratford things were here. And we are obviously always pushing for a 3rd program, but I'll let Kim go ahead there.
Sure. In Charlottetown, yes, what Councillor Cox had mentioned, Stratford was able to access an extra $1 million. So Charlottetown has applied. I don't know what type of funds they received or if it's all finalized, but they were doing the same thing, and they're trying to do a 2nd program in Charlottetown, but it doesn't affect.
Yeah, we don't have a 3rd
No.
okayed yet. But I mean, I know when I was online talking, I was kind of half jokingly, but half, saying that we love to have, the trilogy and have the 3rd part come in, but and we can always push towards that, obviously. But yeah, it's been a wonderful program for the town of Stratford. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, just one last thing on that. I think to that point, the provincial programs have expanded so much now that it may not really the bang for our buck with the switch, now that we've done a lot of work, may not be the same as it was before. I know I appreciate bringing up all those programs, and I wish residents would take government up on it. It is a once in a lifetime potential opportunity where there's funds that were probably allocated federally for other provinces that either didn't believe in climate change or they didn't agree with some things. So that money's made its way down to our neck of the woods. So I would encourage folks, like Councillor Cox said, to make use of those programs to be able to get a free heat pump or substantial reduction in cost, especially replacing your old oil to hot water heat pump is phenomenal. And yeah, any questions? I know my next door neighbor actually works for Efficiency, and she's happy to talk at any time about all the things they offer. So give their office a call and make best use of that.
Right. I know 2 years ago, especially the federal program, it was really for probably like 75% of people, it was not set up for you to use that program because you had to put a certain amount of money down. It was really archaic, like the way it was set up. The Switch was a much better program, but I know now we're looking at these provincial programs, looking at federal programs coming out. They are way better, and they're getting better every year. But when we were doing Switch here, it was by far the best bang for your buck for the residents of Stratford. The federal programs are getting better, and I look forward to seeing what else is coming down the pike for that.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? I just have one comment, and it's around the watershed work, Sawig, Stratford area Watershed Improvement Group. I think the work they do is phenomenal. I think the summer staff, that investment in hiring, summer students and getting them involved in
Yeah.
environmental initiatives is a great investment in the future, but it also really enhances the town and really improves our watershed. And
Yeah.
I just think the tree planting program, I think that's great value for money, and
Yeah.
again, it's a great investment in the future. So kudos to the SAWIG and to
Yeah.
the whole.
I'm pretty biased when it comes to them because my son's on the board of directors, but anyway, but I would be biased anyway, but they do phenomenal work, and they're each person is very passionate, and I've talked to my son about that, and he said he's so inspired every time they have a meeting just by the energy and people that are so dedicated when it comes to that.
And our town staff as well. Like
Oh, our town
we
staff
have
is
an
really-
environmental coordinator
Yeah.
who does a great job.
Yeah.
She's just fantastic, so really.
In this day and age, we really have to, especially with what happened with different windstorms and tropical storms, hurricanes, other things that are happening, plus development. And we are looking at the future, looking at hopefully getting better programs in place for builders, and as far as replanting trees, deforestation, reforestation, green spaces, and that's stuff we have to really start putting up our game on that too. And it's nice to see subgroups like you're talking about and the work that they do, because that enhances what the rest of the staff has to do also. And thank you, Kim, for information, Indigo, also. Thank you for that. But I think we're moving in the right direction. And I think, for us to refer the switch program, we had to really understand it very, very well. Because if you're telling your residents that you should do this, and there's some back end part of this that's not good, then it falls back on us. So, and the town staff really did a great job looking through the whole program before we were able to, tell residents it's a good program.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I really like about this, and it's really essential for any successful program, is the accountability piece. And I think, we've again rehired our an individual to work on our energy plan, to update and see how we're doing against our goals, and where we stand with regard to reducing emissions. And that individual does a great job, and really think that's a good investment as well, to have that energy plan updated, and to show residents that we are accountable for really trying to improve our environmental performance.
Well, and if you look, on our website, obviously, you look under my report there, you see, before I give, there's another part I have to talk about here in a quick second, but if you look at the, let me just find it back here. If you look at the report, the 43-page report, sustainability report, and we're going to be talking about that in a second, but that's really a lot of work was done on this report. And it has so much in there. It's really a template of Stratford, everything from environmental events to watershed stuff to floodplains to temperature in the future, all kinds of things that are in this report. It's a very lengthy read, but the more you get through this report, some stuff just blows your mind about stuff that has happened in Stratford and things that are projected in Stratford. And I think it's one of the best reports I've read in an awful long time. So I guess that gets us to our resolutions.
Yep,
okay?
go ahead. Yep.
Just before
Yep.
we move to the resolution, I just want to second what you say about the report. Very well done, great read, really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, some concerning things, I think, for sure, but
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure, is that accessible to the public? Is that available to the public if they want to see it?
So it wasn't, but I think it is now. Am I correct with that? Yeah.
Once
So
it's approved.
once we adopt it. So like I said, it wasn't, but it's going to be. Yeah.
Great, okay.
But I mean, even at the back, there's a section for acronyms. There's a section for of definitions. Like, it's got so much stuff in here. It's really reader friendly.
Are you talking about the climate action plan?
Yes. Now, about
That's
the
included-
report.
That's included in the council package, which is available
Yeah.
to the public now.
Yeah, but we're going to be talking about the adoption of the climate action plan, that's report.
Okay, so the draft is out there now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So here's the resolution. Whereas the town of Stratford has a long-standing commitment to environmental sustainability, recognizing the importance of protecting our community for future generations, and whereas climate change possesses a significant threat to our community, environment, and economy, with rising temperatures, extreme weather events, environmental degradation being major concerns. Okay, why does it keep doing that? Okay, let's go back here to, I did that last time on me. Okay, sorry, I'll go back to this. Whereas the Resilient Roots Stratford Climate Action Plan has been developed through a collaboration effort involving residents, organizations, government agencies, and environmental experts. And whereas the Climate Action Plan outlines a comprehensive roadmap and a range of recommendations for the town to adapt to the impacts of climate change, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions, improving energy efficiency, enhancing community resilience to climate change, and promoting environmental equality or equity, all aiming to achieve long-term climate resilience. Be it resolved that the town of Stratford approve and adopt the Climate Action Plan as a guiding document for Stratford climate change efforts and proceed with implementation of the Climate Action Plan. This resolution bears recommendation of the Sustainability Committee as discussed at a meeting held on February 7th, 2024.
Okay, and you're moving that,
Yes.
Councillor. And just before we move that, I think we need to read the actual title into the record.
Oh, okay.
That right at the top there. SC.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, SC 002-2024, adaptation of the Resilient Roots Stratford's Climate Action Plan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So that's moved. Seconder?
Okay.
I don't know who got there first, whether it was, I think it was tied. Okay, thanks. So, thanks, Councillor Dowling. Okay, any comments or questions? If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Cox. It's great to see that sustainability file continuing to be at the forefront and move forward like that. Thanks for all your efforts on this.
No problem. The last part there, the sustainability recommendations, September 24th, do you want me to read that also out, or is that just there for our general?
Sure, read it if you like, yeah.
Okay, this is just a memorandum. It's just Sustainability Committee recommends council adopt Resilient Roads Stratford Climate Plan. I guess it's the same thing we just talked about. So it's just basically the final, I'll just put this part out, if that's okay. The final version of the plan was presented to Sustainability Committee February 7th, and the committee is recommending it. So it may be implemented over the next 5 to 10 years to take action against the effects of climate change in Stratford. So it's kind of nice to know that part. So, yeah, that's in my report.
That's great to have that roadmap. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to a report of a committee that I chair, Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability. There wasn't a meeting last month, but I did have, we will be meeting, I think, over the next month or so. And there are a couple of things within that file, though, that are I'd like to highlight. One is concerning the website. Town staff recently awarded the website redesign RFP to AOR Web Solutions, and they held their kickoff meeting with them this week. The new website is expected to be ready by mid-2025, with a lot of work in the coming months to migrate the existing data. And they'll be reviewing and refreshing the content, and they'll be working towards ensuring a user-friendly experience for all web users. Right now, it can be a little bit difficult to navigate, so that'll hopefully be resolved with the new website. Residents should not experience any issues during this time, as the current Town of Stratford website will continue to house the town's information and be accessible. So the website has always been traditionally seen as a repository, but I think more and more people like to use the website as a tool for program delivery and for information that's current and really today's information. So hopefully this will go a long ways towards realizing that vision. Second thing is There will be a briefing, town staff and council will be getting a briefing on the town's annual resident survey results, and that'll take place next week. What the report is going to be released to the public following the presentation to council and staff. So we always look forward to hearing from residents and receiving feedback annually from them in this manner. And the information is used in our decision-making. It's really one of the guiding lights or the guideposts for us in terms of how we approach certain issues. I really want to, and on behalf of staff and council, to thank all residents who have completed the survey and who've provided their feedback through this means. So thank you to all those people who did the survey. And I guess, Wendy, the numbers were quite significant this year in terms of confidence level and that sort of thing. It's got a really high confidence level in terms of participation, and in terms of surveys, it's probably one of the, a really top performer in terms of getting a good finger on the pulse of what's going on and how people feel in Stratford. Okay, any other comments or questions on my report? If not, we'll move on to any inquiries by members of council on anything about the town.
Councilor Jackson's already raised the Rosebank Road issue, so leave it at that for now.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Okay. If there's no other comments, we'll move on to the other committees, which is Stratford Seniors Complex. So I'll ask Deputy Mayor Gallant to provide that report.
Thank you, Worship. We met yesterday, and it was a great meeting. This is the following overview of projects and items being worked on within the Seniors Committee. Building assessment has been started by Coles. The draft report is to be completed by September 19, 2024. Work that needed to be completed based on annual inspections has been done. Snow removal and salting tender for walkways will be issued in September. Ooh, winter's coming. A letter will be issued to tenants regarding garbage sorting. There has been some issues with the garbage not being sorted, and Waste Watch will not empty the bins. And currently, right now, there's 26 people waiting on the waiting list to obtain to get into the building.
So it's growing, eh? The waiting list
It's
is
growing, yep. Yep. Work's been completed, everything, like our cupboards and in the kitchens are all completed at Kim. Everything's completed, so that was a big cost, but we're just moving forward. It's a great job, and of course, I don't know if we're looking at a heat pump for the lobby area. We are, yeah, and we picked up one at just for the summer.
Air conditioner.
Air conditioner, yeah, but home hardware in Stratford, and everything went over well,
Yeah.
and a lot of comments, and so anyways,
Hot summer, yeah.
yep. So that's where we're at.
Great.
And just in regards to the air conditioner, was the feedback positive from residents?
Pardon?
The feedback from the residents, like, were they appreciative of that?
Of the air conditioner? Yes. Yeah. We're really appreciative, yeah. I noticed, I know my company does a lot of work for senior places, and mostly all the lobbies will have air conditioners, heat pumps there, so, for the residents to attend, but other parts of the building, they're on their own, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm amazed at the senior homes. I know a lot are private. The amount of senior homes, which is majority, that have no air conditioning of any sort,
Yep.
especially in cafeteria areas where they conjugate, have their breakfast, dinner, supper.
Yep.
And that just, I find that astonishing that people this day and age, you have a multi-million-dollar place can have no heat pumps or,
Yep.
cooling systems, especially the kind of summers we're having.
The climate change.
And climate change, it just blows my mind. And there's no regulation through governments that are going into these senior complex or senior homes and saying, you need to have this as part of 2024 and being in operation. I'm astounded that is not mandated for these places. I can't understand that.
Okay, any other
Sorry.
comments or questions? Go ahead,
I
sorry.
just have to say thank you again. I'm really happy that we got that done, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can continue with a heat pump eventually.
Yes.
And I think I brought it up before, but in an article I read recently, the effects of heat are of the most dangerous of all the weather occurrences we see. So it's really important that we,
Yes.
as a town, are able to provide relief for our seniors in that situation. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, again, it's an example of reaction to a situation and preemptive, movement to prevent any problems by addressing that need. Again, council and staff came to the forefront and met that need, so thank you. Any other comments or questions on Deputy Mayor's report? Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you.
Just one thing, I guess, with regard to the seniors' housing, and that is the Much Drive. Is there any further information about the renewal of the
CMHC?
of the contract with CMHC? I know that it expires this year, I believe it is, or something like that?
June next year.
Next year? No, next year, eh?
Yeah.
So is there anything with regard to that? I know that it's a great model, the way it exists. So is there any progress on that front?
They're going to just email us a package whenever it gets closer to the timeline, and most of the buildings that are currently under agreement, they're planning on moving forward with future agreements with those buildings. It might not be the exact same, it might not be 25%, it might be 30% of the income, but that's the plan. So they'll get in touch with us. When she looked into it, it's actually July of 2025, so
Okay.
it'll probably be like the beginning of 2025 that they'll start to reach out to us.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay. Any other, okay, so we'll move on to appointments to committees. Any appointments to committees?
No, but I just wanted to plug that as of last week, we opened up the 2-year renewal process and recruitment process for committee members. So it was kind of a soft opening last week, but residents will be hearing from us more frequently over the next month or so while we look for residents who want to join our committees, who haven't been on a committee, and those who are currently on committees to reapply, whether they want to stay on their current committee or perhaps make a move. This is kind of the 2-year rotation that we're coming to an end on. So there will be lots of information coming up on that.
And the deadline on that is the end of October or middle of?
I think it's October 21st at 12 noon, I believe. I should
Okay.
know that date, but I think that's the date.
Yeah.
It's around sort of mid to late October.
Well, I think that the work that committees do, the town committees, staffed by volunteers, who apply and are chosen to serve on these committees and who give up their time, I think it provides a great service to the town and especially to council and staff through their recommendations and their analysis and their discussion of various issues, their in-depth dive into some of the big issues, and they bring their expertise and their experience, and just great to have that service. I don't know what we do without it, so thanks. Okay, I do have if there's no other discussion on appointments to committees, I'll move forward with proclamation. This is Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness Month. Whereas pulmonary fibrosis is a very serious lung disease with no cure, and the only known intervention to prolong life at this time is with a lung transplant. And whereas new drugs have come onto the market in the past few years to slow the progression of the disease, and whereas an estimated 30,000 Canadians suffer from pulmonary fibrosis, with about 6,000 new cases identified each year, and whereas many are not aware of the symptoms or disease until diagnosed, so it is important to learn the signs and symptoms as it can be misdiagnosed. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Steve Ogden, Mayor of the town of Stratford, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness Month in the town of Stratford. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused a seal of the town of Stratford to be affixed hereto. and I've signed that document this 11th day of September 2024. Okay, any other business? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just comment on that, it's timely, I just lost an uncle last week to pulmonary fibrosis, so.
Sorry to hear that.
No, I appreciate that. Just for those folks that work with chemicals and different things like that, he worked in school. It's one of those long latency things that ultimately rears its head long after you've been exposed, so just, I appreciate the heads up on that and the awareness on it. Thank you, Worship.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to hear about your uncle. That's too bad. Any other business that anyone would like to raise at this time? If not, I'll call for a motion for adjournment. We're now adjourned.